When you think of Saturn, you probably picture something like this, right? Just a beautiful, serene jewel floating out there in the dark. It looks so elegant, almost perfect. But when we finally sent our probes to get a close-up look, they sent back a picture of a world that is just filled with unsettling secrets, absolutely bizarre structures, and some really disturbing anomalies. So let's pull back the curtain on the real Saturn, and we're going to start with a storm that seems to defy the laws of nature itself. And that right there, that quote from one of the first flybys, it just captures the whole essence of Saturn, doesn't it? It's a planet that is constantly, and I mean constantly, messing with our expectations. It seems like every single answer it gives us just comes loaded with even bigger, more profound questions. All right, so we're going to start with the first of these incredible mysteries, and it's hiding in plain sight right there in Saturn's atmosphere. This is a place where the weather doesn't just break the rules, it seems to be governed by, of all things, geometry. So this is the first big anomaly we have to talk about, the North Polar Hexagon. And let me be really clear here, that is not a mountain range, it's not a crater. That is a storm, a jet stream made of atmosphere that is locked into an almost perfect six-sided shape, just spinning away at the top of the planet. The scale of this thing is it's hard to even get your head around. From one side to the other, this storm is about 30,000 kilometers wide. This isn't just a bit of bad weather, this is a feature on a planetary scale. So, to put that number into some perspective for you, you could line up our home planet Earth 4 times, side by side, and you would still have room to spare inside this single storm. Think about it. Earth's jet stream wanders all over the place and changes every week. This thing, it's been locked in this perfect shape for decades. And that stability, well, that's the real heart of the mystery. The Voyager spacecraft saw it way back in 1981. Then, when Cassini got there decades later in 2004, yep, still there. And when that mission finally ended 13 years after that, in 2017, it was still spinning. So how can a weather pattern stay so perfectly locked in place for more than 40 years of our observation? We honestly still don't have the full answer. And as if that hexagon wasn't weird enough, Saturn's atmosphere has another, much more violent trick up its sleeve. About once every Saturnian year, that's roughly 30 of our years, a colossal storm erupts. They call them great white spots, and they're so powerful that they eventually grow to wrap around and choke the entire planet. The last one was in 2010, and if the pattern holds, we're due for the next one around 2040. All this violence in the atmosphere kind of hints at a deeper truth here. Nothing about Saturn is as calm as it looks. And that turmoil, it extends to its most famous feature, the rings. We think of them as these permanent, solid things, but the data, it shows something deeply strange is going on. They're not static at all. They're an icon in flux. So get this, in its final orbits, the Cassini spacecraft discovered that the rings are literally raining down onto the planet. It's a phenomenon they call ring rain, and it means that Saturn's most iconic feature is actively disappearing. The way it works is both kind of beautiful and really destructive. Sunlight hits the tiny ice particles in the rings and gives them an electrical charge. Once they're charged, Saturn's own magnetic field can just grab them and funnel them right down into the atmosphere. The rings are essentially being eaten by the very planet they orbit. So how fast is this happening? Well, the estimates vary a bit, but we're talking about Saturn losing thousands of kilograms of its rings every single second. At that rate, they could be totally gone in as little as 100 million years, which I know sounds like a long time, but in cosmic terms, it's just a blink of an eye. It really means we are unbelievably lucky to be alive in this brief little window of cosmic history when Saturn has its amazing crown. Now, this whole draining process, it fuels one of the biggest debates in planetary science. Are the rings young? Maybe they only formed when dinosaurs were still walking around on Earth. I mean, their clean, icy composition kind of suggests that. Or are they ancient, billions of years old, but just part of some incredible recycling system that keeps them looking brand new? The truth is, we just don't know for sure. And the weirdness in the rings does not stop there. The Voyager spacecraft was the first to spot these dark, almost ghostly streaks that just appear and disappear within a few hours, completely defying the normal laws of orbital physics. Scientists just called them spokes. So what in the world are these spokes? Well, they're not shadows. They are literal clouds of tiny dust grains that are being electrostatically lifted up and out of the main ring plane. And here's the crazy part. They rotate with Saturn's magnetic field, not its gravity. And they seem to come and go with the seasons. They're like this little window into the complex, invisible electrical environment of the rings. Okay, now let's pull our view back for a second. It turns out that a lot of Saturn's weirdest anomalies, its rings, its magnetic field, even its auroras, they might all be connected to one tiny, totally unexpected source, a small moon that's acting like the engine for the entire system. This is Enceladus. It's only about 500 kilometers across, so it really should be just a frozen, dead, inert ball of ice. But instead, what Cassini found is that it's one of the most geologically active worlds we have ever seen, with these huge plumes of material erupting from its south pole and blasting out into space. And this is why Enceladus is so incredibly important. Cassini actually flew right through those plumes and tasted them, and what it found inside was just stunning. Water vapor, salt, complex organic molecules, and here's the real kicker, tiny grains of silica that can only form when hot water interacts with rock, just like in the hydrothermal vents we see on Earth's ocean floors. So what does all this mean? It means Enceladus isn't just some active moon doing its own thing. It's a system builder. The stuff spewing from its plumes literally creates Saturn's entire outermost E-ring. And it pumps charged particles into the magnetosphere, which in turn helps power the planet's very strange auroras. See, unlike the auroras on Earth, which are mostly driven by the sun, Saturn's are a hybrid. They're powered by both the solar wind and this internal plasma source coming from its own moon, Enceladus. This tiny little world is literally shaping the behavior of its giant parent planet. So after 13 years of Cassini observing this incredible system, we're somehow left with more questions than we had when we started. The serene jewel of the solar system, it turned out to be this buzzing hotbed of cosmic mysteries. I think the ultimate takeaway here is that Saturn is an active, dynamic, and just deeply strange world. We still don't have a good reason for why its hexagon is so stable. We really don't know how old its rings are, and we have no idea what secrets are hiding deep inside the planet, or, for that matter, inside its most fascinating moon. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most profound question of all. That hidden ocean on Enceladus, it has liquid water, it has complex chemistry, and it has a source of heat. Cassini confirmed that all the ingredients for life as we know it are there. But what it couldn't see is if life itself was present. So what's really down there, swimming in that dark ocean, a billion kilometers from Earth? That is, perhaps, the single most important unanswered question in all of solar system science.